infections and similar issues at various levels, and thus to enhance general awareness among the youth. To motivate students to take up research career in the field of disaster management and engineering structural safety and making some positive contribution towards the society. Now, I invite our HOD, Ms. Swati Lekha Guha ma'am, Civil Engineering Department, IPS Academy, Institute of Engineering and Science for her motivation.
Thank you, Richa. Rightly said by Ms. Richa Jain that disaster is very crucial nowadays, and the kind of hazards that are being created by disaster is obviously something to be mitigated and managed time to time. So on behalf of IPS Academy Institute of Engineering and Science, I would like to welcome all the experts of different sessions and participants for the 1 week Atal FDP on disaster management and engineering structure safety, sponsored by AICT. We are highly privileged and obliged in being part of such a platform. Also, I would like to wish all the luck to Dr. Amit Sharma and his team for conducting this FDP. I hope this FDP will be fruitful and enrich all the participants by the vast ocean of knowledge being delivered by the experts. Thank you and welcome all of you.
Thank you, ma'am, for motivating us. Now, I would like to invite our organizer of FDP, Dr. Amit Sharma, sir, Professor,
Yes, sir.
Civil Engineering Department, IPS Academy, Institute of Engineering and Science, to say a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richa. Respected Gupta sir, our head, Professor Swati Lekha Guha, faculties, and all participants. First of all, I would like to give thanks to AICT for allowing us to conduct FDP under the umbrella of Atal Academy. 200 faculties from different parts of India are participating in FDP. The 5 days of FDP will cover different aspects of disaster management engineering structures, such as resilience development issues for environment, infrastructure, and health, community-based disaster risk reduction, seismic performance of structure using shake table, disaster risk reduction using ecosystem resilience, and many other topics related to disaster management, which will be delivered by eminent professors of reputed institutes all around India. I hope this FDP will prove beneficial to all the participants and will open the gate for new research in the field of disaster management. With this, I welcome all of you, and now I request Professor Richa to give a brief introduction of our guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Anil Kumar Gupta sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite our first keynote speaker, Dr. Anil K. Gupta, sir. Sir is presently working as professor at National Institute of Disaster Management, Delhi. He was formerly Director, Institute of Environmental and Development Studies, Bundelkhand University, Jhansi, since 2003. He joined NIDM in 2006. He serves as disaster mitigation and crisis management professional, done his PhD in 1995 and postdoctorate in 1996 from CSIR, NERI, 1996. He possesses interdisciplinary expertise with institutional development, administrative and management, coordinated several international national projects, over 100 publications including 10 books and 45 papers, and guided many PhD research scholars. His special contributions were in preparation of National DM Plan, including Mitigation and Response Plan, National HR Plan from DRM, Perspective Plan from NIDM, Strengthening Strategy on Climate Change, NAP on Chemical Disaster, International Cooperation with GIZ, UNEP, UNDP, ICT, US, UNU, EHS, UNESCO, CKDN, ICICI, MOD, NORAD, World Bank, etc., and coordination with state United Territories for DM capacity building training matters. Area include risk vulnerability analysis, DMP, PDNA, CCA, DRR, housing safety and local emergency preparedness, DM planning, governance, etc. He also served NMDC, DMI, NIRI, and SISCON in administrative technical capacities. He is coordinator of Technical Advisory Committee of NIDM, member of Governing Council of Academic Research Advisory of several institutes and high-level ministerial delegation abroad. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Anil K. Gupta sir for his first lecture.
Thank you for inviting me to talk at this occasion. And I must compliment the organizers, IPS Academy, Institute of Engineering and Science, for organizing such a very important FDP. This topic, disaster management and engineering structure safety, is a very, very relevant topic that you have chosen. The relevance is special because very recently India has taken a global initiative. That global initiative is called as the Global Coalition of Global Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI. CDRI, where more than 60 countries have become member. India is the leader of that. India has taken this initiative of establishing this CDRI. And this is very important because the entire Asia Pacific region, not only India, but the entire Asia Pacific region, most of the countries of this region are at the high pace of infrastructure growth. So on one hand, we see that the infrastructure growth is the kind of our focus, because our key objective is to improve the quality of life, improve the standard of living of our people. And for that, we need better amenities, better services, better production system, better manufacturing systems, better disposal and processing of wastes, and all these kind of things. And then also within other services like the health services, water supply services, other environmental services, so many things. And also looking at the employment opportunities or the livelihood opportunities for people. But at the same time, what do we see? That disasters have increasing impact on these infrastructure. For example, if we go back and look at 2015, where Chennai was flooded, and we recall that in Chennai flood, the airport was marooned. And this is an example that how our infrastructure, which are not the simple infrastructure, but very costly infrastructure systems, got affected by disasters. In 2014, it was Cyclone Hudhud, which has flown away the roof of the airport in Visakhapatnam. So what message these lessons give? That these investments are based on the public money, and these investments are the huge investments. And if these investments of infrastructure are not safe, then it is affecting very, very seriously not only the human life or the society, but entire ecosystem, entire economic systems. And what we had seen in this coronavirus pandemic time also, that the impact on economics is very, very serious.
Sir,
and this
sir,
hello?
we are not able to see the see your slides, sir.
No, I have not yet started my slide. I will be
Okay,
starting
okay.
my slide. Okay.
Sorry, sir, to interrupt you, sir.
All right. So this subject becomes very, very important. And therefore, the key message that I would like to give through my keynote address today is that disaster management is the common responsibility. And when we say disaster management, it is not only managing a disaster, but trying to reduce the disaster and develop resilience. So that is the most important thing. And for this purpose, it is important that our entire business and trade system, entire manufacturing and industrial system, start thinking about reducing the risk of disasters. And in other words, we say that we have to develop a culture of safety and prevention. So whatever we do, safety should be our one of the key concerns. So this is the key message that I wanted to give here. And as IPS Academy Institute, be running certain engineering courses, BTech, MTech, these kind of programs, and there are many other participants coming from various engineering institutions and also from management institutions. So I would say that whether we are teaching them the management sciences which are managing various functions within the industry, or the technical domains where we are contributing technically for managing of our production system, processes, sales, distribution, and other dimensions of maintenance. So everywhere, safety and disaster risk reduction is emerging as a critical issue. I was discussing in a meeting very recently that in our BTech program, we are not teaching our students anything on safety. But when the students join industry, then some of the engineers are asked to look after the safety domain. So we need to look at the curriculum also, and therefore we have to start thinking that how we integrate disaster risk reduction, safety, and also the environmental and climate resilience into these domains. I would be sharing a presentation here where in fact the presentation, can we see my presentation here? I have
Sir,
shared.
no, sir.
Not yet.
No, yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can see.
Okay. Okay, good. So just a moment, I will make it full screen. Is it full screen? Okay. Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
So I am going to show some slides, but what the caution I am giving, that in slides whatever I am showing may not be many new things, but what is my purpose of showing these slides is to put the things into a different perspective. Many of the things are known to you, but how we think those dimensions of our industry, of our engineering and infrastructure, that will be a very important thing for our future resilience. So if we look at this, very importantly, many of you must be talking about the GDP, and this concept of GDP, that in other terms reflects the concept of national economy, has been given by the scientists, the economic scientist called Kuznets. Kuznets gave this concept in 1930, where this concept tells that you need to harness environment and ecosystems for increasing per capita prosperity. Prosperity means we say that standard of living. So if we want to improve our standard of living, we need to draw the resources from environment and ecosystems.
Sir.
But what happens? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, still we are not able to see the slide, sir. First slide is coming only.
I have moved my slide.
Yeah.
Is it moving? No?
No, sir. Not yet, sir.
Maybe some problem with
Sometimes it, yeah, yes, sir. Now we can see, sir.
you can
Sir,
see?
please,
Okay.
yeah, please make it full screen also, sir. Earlier it was visible, now it's
Okay.
again, yeah.
Okay. Is it visible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So it is like this, that we keep on damaging the environment, and then after some time the prosperity does not increase. So currently we are experiencing this scenario globally, that despite of the best technological advances, our economy is not growing. The past 15 years, 20 years, we have best equipment, we have the best technology. Now we are working on nanotechnology, now we are working on robotics, but our economy is not increasing. So what is the reason? So this is just one clue. Another clue is this: for attaining a better quality of life, our ecological footprint it grows. For example, the countries like Australia, US, Kuwait, Switzerland, Qatar, they utilize more and more part of the ecosystems and attained happiness. But this more harnessing of ecosystems, more exploitation of ecological systems, creating new risks, that is also important, because these are the countries which are the major contributors of the greenhouse gases. So this is again in another message. Third message, that if we look at the data, that the deaths from the disasters have declined. We have been able to enhance our early warning system. We can evacuate people. We can give better alert and early warning. So we are able to reduce the losses of life of human being. But on the other hand, number of disasters are increasing. But beside this, the geographical coverage of disasters have also grown. Why it has grown? Because population has increased and we have occupied all the open spaces. Now, new urban areas are coming. The old urban areas are expanding. The rural areas are converting into urban areas, and therefore more geographical coverage under various kind of disasters. This is again a very interesting thing, that earlier it was the low income group that was affected primarily by disasters. But now there is a change. What is the change? That it is not only the low income group, but it is the low middle income group that is affected by more by disasters. What is the reason? The reason is that the people who have some money, they buy assets, and they want to move towards urban areas, and for want of these, they go and occupy the hazardous locations. For example, in urban areas, people migrating from rural areas, they are bound and they are forced to live in a situation that we call it slum areas, or the low-lying areas, which are not very safer areas. So this is again the thing. Then again, when we talk of resilience, it is not an easy thing to understand. It is not really very easy thing to implement. So it requires a multifaceted network, multifaceted input. It is not only engineering, it is not only science, it is not only management, it is not only social science, it is not only economics, but resilience requires input from all the dimensions of science and technology, management sciences, environmental sciences, and also the social sciences. And in fact, resilience is our adjustment to the possible and unexpected changes. So for these, what is important, and being the students of engineering, being the faculty members of engineering, how do we see this? From engineering perspective, from structural dimensions, we see at how we protect our infrastructure systems. And for protecting our infrastructure, our primary focus usually goes on critical infrastructure, because at the same time, we have to protect all the infrastructure, but we need to prioritize that which are the critical infrastructure, without which our normalcy cannot be restored. Our normalcy will be in greater risk. So like hospitals, like schools, like police stations, like our power supply system, like our communication systems, these are the kind of a critical infrastructure without which the normalcy is not possible. Now, housing again, the most important critical infrastructure, because we all inhabit in these buildings, we dwell in these habitat, so that is very important.
Sir?
Hello.
Sir, we can't see your slides.
That is again a problem. So can we see now?
So we can see. Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Okay, so I will not make it full screen now. I think it will be better
Yes,
to
sir.
go like this. Sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I'll do
Thank you,
this
sir.
like. Okay, so look at this. It is just indicating an example that probably the answers are simple, but implementation is important, and that is why I say the engineering, the benefits of engineering cannot be reaped until unless the engineering is converted into the techno-legal regime. That how engineering is implemented. So engineering has to be related with the governance system also, because we have the the technology available, but how we implement the technology, that is equally important. If we now look at the cities like that we say that Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, even in Northeast, we knew that Northeast is the landscape is not fit for multi-storied buildings, but now you see that most of the malls, multi-storied buildings, multi-storied complexes are coming up in Northeast areas, which are not suitable for looking at the zone 5 and zone 4 level of earthquake risk. So this is important. Now see the kind of damages. Just a simpler damages, you will find more devastating things. So these are kind of things, damages to infrastructure. Now urban systems. Why urban resilience is important? Urban resilience is becoming important because more and more people are moving towards urban areas. Urban areas are expanding, and we say that more than 50% of population will be living in urban areas by 2035. And I would say that not only 2035, but even by 2030, most of the people will be living in urban areas, because our villages are also converting to rural kind of things, and that is why the rural-urban kind of topics being discussed within the urban planning domain. So this is important, and within urban system, probably water is going to be very, very crucial component. And we see that the growing incidences of the urban flooding. Now every city gets flooding some or other way, if not fully, then at least partly. Then cities are also facing the drought kind of situation, water scarcity. Chennai got flooded in 2015, but 2016 it got a severe water scarcity challenge. So now the capital town kind of a example are emerging in our countries also. In our states also, most of the cities are facing this water challenge. Now, when we talk of infrastructure, then dependency of infrastructure on each other is very, very important. Infrastructure resilience cannot be thought of in isolation. If we think of in hospital, then hospital requires power supply to run its services. Hospital, it requires road connectivity so that the patients can reach to the hospital. Doctors can go to the hospital. So these kind of things are important. Hospitals need water supply. So how sectoral resilience are dependent on each other, how various infrastructure are dependent on each other is equally important. Then again, coming to this, then when we think of resilience and the engineering domains, then there are correlations. There are also overlaps between these three domains, that we call it risk, resilience, and sustainability. Management of risk is probably a short-term kind of things. For example, if we talk of then urban flood. So urban flood, every July or say August, we can get some heavy rainfall, and then urban flooding may be there. So we need to have some kind of early warning alert system, and then we have proactive means of managing these flood. So that will be a risk management kind of thing. But what is resilience? Resilience is a broader term. So it is not only for July or August, but a broader perspective, that how we redesign our urban system, how we improve our design of the urban system, how we design the rural system, how we design our industrial system, so that these things adapt to the uncertainties, knowns and unknowns also. That if something unknown comes, okay, flooding is come, but if drought also comes, we can withstand. If heavy wind also come, we can withstand. So these kind of examples are dealt into this, that we say that adapt. So adapt to the certain things and uncertain things. And then when we say that, okay, our urban systems, our rural systems, and also our industrial systems have to adapt to these kind of uncertainties or these kind of disaster risk. What else? So what equally important is that this adaptation should not be only for 1 year, 2 year, or 5 year time. It should have a long-term vision, because a building is constructed not only for 1 year, 2 year time. It is constructed for 50 years, 100 years time. Any industry, then there is a self life. There is a if we are constructing a dam, then it is maybe for 50 years, 100 years, or 150 years. So and that is serving not only one generation, but more than one generation. So whatever we are doing, we also need to think for risk management and resilience of the future generation also. So future generations, their resilience would be considered as a kind of a sustainability issue, because if we convert everything to built environment and to the constructed areas, and if we do not have the green spaces, if we do not have the open spaces, if we do not have the ecosystems, then probably the things are not going to be resilient, the things are not going to be sustainable, and therefore the sustainability need to be integrated into our all thought process, and therefore all these things go hand in hand. Now coming to the business continuity, it's again very important, and recently I am focusing on these things, because without engaging the private sector, and not only private sector, public sector and business communities into the domains of disaster risk management, the disaster risk management bringing on the ground would not be possible, because all these technological applications are primarily for manufacturing, production systems, various services, various infrastructure systems. And within industry, if we look at the example from the coronavirus pandemic also, then in India, more than 70% of the industries had no concept of business continuity planning. They were not prepared for any kind of uncertain events, and that is the reason this coronavirus has affected our industries like anything. Many industries were depending on the foreign imports, on imports, and therefore now we are talking that this business continuity is a business continuity management system should incorporate disaster resilience also as an implicit component. And because the industries are also affected by various environmental emergencies, so environmental emergencies are also important to consider. What are the environmental emergencies? For example, heavy rainfall incidences, the drought condition, water scarcity, heavy wind conditions, heat conditions. For example, heat wave we have been facing, frost conditions. Then these kind of biological attacks. This year we had a severe pest attack, locust attack also has been faced by India. And then the issues like fog. 2019 in New Delhi, we had to declare the health emergency because of the air pollution. So these kind of things are also emerging. Sometimes even water pollution, a severe level of water pollution can be of an emergency scenario that we do not have water for drinking, water for bathing, and all the water is polluted or contaminated, maybe sudden contamination. So that kind of things are also there. So now we are asking that business continuity and business continuity strategies, these need to integrate the disaster and environmental risk and climatic risk into the regime of business impact assessment, that we say that BIA. So BIA need to be improved, and for that we say that the business as usual is not going to work, and we have to move to the preferred scenarios of risk management and resilience. And this picture in fact shows that the business continuity or the business resilience is not limited to the emergency response, but it is a broad gamut of management issues. And in other terms, there is a new domain in management studies globally that is called a change management. So change management is changing with the nature. So I would always say that living with the risk is important, because sometimes you cannot avoid the risk, sometimes you can reduce the risk. So you have to adapt with the risk, and that is important when we discuss that the future we want. Actually, how we are going to look at the future, not only the present risk scenario, but the future risk scenario, that is also equally important. And this is the picture drawn from our own experience working with the various state and district level governments in India. So this is a two-wheel concept. We say that it is important that we understand our weaknesses, and weaknesses is nothing but the vulnerabilities, because it is not only hazard, but it is the vulnerability that convert a hazard into the disasters. So understanding vulnerability is important, and for that, based on that, we can work out with various stakeholders, that we say that institutions, actors, and agencies. So with them we work for developing resilience, developing their resilience. For example, the resilience of the Jal Sansthan, resilience of the water supply systems, resilience of the waste management system, resilience of the power supply system, resilience of the hospitals, resilience of our schools. So these kind of things where infrastructure is also important, but not only infrastructure, but the operational systems are also important. How we behave, how we adjust to the changing scenario. And for that we have an approach called as shared learning. So aao karke seekhen. So there we also try to blend local knowledge with the modern scientific knowledge. So we work as a catalytic agent. So these are the kind of things, and therefore now we are asking that all the industries should come up with disaster management plan, all the businesses should also come up with disaster management plan, and looking at disasters and even new kind of disasters which are emerging from the environmental emergencies, which are becoming important day by day. So we are also looking at that how corporate social responsibilities can play important role in disaster resilience. That is also equally important, because sometimes there are conflict between industry and society, and if we use technology, if we use the technology and sustainability integrated approach, we can avoid these kind of conflicting scenarios also. So that is important, because now we are in the phase of Sendai framework for DRR, and within Sendai framework of DRR, understanding disaster risk is very important, because unless we really understand the basic causes of risk, we would not be able to address the risk. And now we have certain initiatives at national level which are very good guidance lines for us, all of us. For example, the India has a national disaster management plan that was prepared in 2016, now updated in 2019. So that provides a guideline how the technology and engineering has to work for developing resilience into our infrastructure systems, and how the environmental services need to be protected from the effect of various disasters. For example, water is fundamental, air is fundamental, food safety and food security is fundamental, without which we cannot live. Health services are fundamental. That is the reason we need to think for this as a priority issues. Now our Prime Minister has given a Prime Minister's Agenda 10 on disaster risk management, where the first point says all sectors of development need to imbibe the disaster risk management principles. You can download the text of this Prime Minister Agenda 10 from the ResearchGate. I will be giving you my ResearchGate address in the last slide. And therefore, now we are working with all the ministries, or asking ministries to prepare their disaster management plan. For example, Ministry of Agriculture has prepared, Ministry of Environment is preparing, now Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer is also preparing its disaster management plan. So that is a lesson that each one of us, even I would say that very interesting thing. I visited Sikkim and I found that Sikkim government has recently promoted the preparation of family disaster management plan. See how interesting the thing. Can we even thought of a family disaster management? Can we even think of a neighborhood disaster management plan? Have we ever discussed with our neighbor that what are our disaster risk, and if something happens, how we are going to talk on this, how we are going to deal with this? So that is important. And in Asia Pacific, with the fast growth of population, fast growth of infrastructure, this is a very important thing, that we focus on local self-reliance and local capacity building, along with and particularly in our country, the recent the Prime Minister's clarion call on vocal for local. So where our industry is going to be local, our manufacturing is going to be local, our startups are coming up, and they have shown their strength during this coronavirus pandemic, that they can really do great. So it is also important that safety is given emphasis in their planning stage itself. And currently we are working with various ministries. Recently we have developed the National Health Adaptation Plan, and that has been witnessed during this coronavirus pandemic also, that we need to improve our health infrastructure in India. Like anything, our health infrastructure is not up to date, and we have to really work very seriously on improving our health services systems. And therefore, how engineering is going to play, that is important. But I would say that leapfrogging is not going to work, and therefore I always recall what Dr. R.A. Mashelkar said, that we need to move from leapfrogging to pole vaulting. In fact, we need to jump to kind of a preferred scenario, because the things are moving very fast, technology is moving very fast, and disasters are also increasing very fast. So we need to work with a kind of a very high pace and with high vigor. Now, a new regime has developed globally, that we call it ecosystem approach to disaster risk reduction. For example, if we talk of the landslide risk reduction, these grasses that can be grown on slopes, and slope stabilization by the ecosystem services, and even I would say that the control of the river erosion, control of river bank erosion, these kind of things, the coastal erosion, with the help of these biological systems, with the help of eco-biotechnology, these things are also emerging globally. And therefore, this nature-based solutions have also come up with a very important contribution from the technological domains. Now, these are the kind of modules that we have developed, that how the law is useful for disaster risk management, and the traditional knowledge for flood risk management, critical infrastructure, databases. These are the publications, 12 case studies on ecosystem approaches. Then this is about the legislations. This is about, recently we have prepared a district collector's handbook for disaster risk management. This is on Oriya, but it is available in English and Hindi also. This is the first book on this topic, a process framework on climate resilient and disaster safe development. You can download from my ResearchGate. Then this is a glimpse of a international conference that we organize jointly with Government of Germany. This is a compilation of 40 case studies in disaster management from India. So these kind of domains are there, nature-based solutions. Then Government of Maharashtra recently established a school for unified DRR for harmonizing integrated resilience. We supported them in developing their DPR, detailed project report. And now this is a new subject, new area that is emerging, that urban resilience, particularly focusing on peri-urban ecosystems, because peri-urban no one talks. Urban planners, they do not talk of the peri-urban. Rural planners, they also do not talk of the peri-urban. But these are the labor markets. These are the mandis where the grain markets are there. These are the places where a lot of horticultural activities are there. These are the places where a lot of recreational activities are there. The gardens, parks, farmhouses are there. These are the places which receive all your solid waste, liquid waste, and your sewage treatment plants are there. So these places are very important for the urban resilience point of view. Now this is about the heat wave that we have studied. I was talking about the Prime Minister's Agenda 10. This is a publication that we have released, that how this agenda can be implemented and how technology has to play the key contribution. This is about the glimpse. Honorable Dr. P.K. Mishra inaugurated this meeting. This is the 20 case studies of relevance for Maharashtra, that coastal issues, flood issues, and drought issues, how to integrate into developmental planning. Now, we also work that how we look at the technology, environment, infrastructure, and social dimensions for protection of children from disasters. So these are the kind of publications with UNICEF. And then currently we are implementing a project jointly with Department of Science and Technology that is called CAPRES, Climate Adaptive Planning for Resilience and Sustainability. You can reach to me for more details. These are the listing of various programs and projects currently I am supervising. Then these are some publications some of you may be interested in, like disaster communication and early warning system. 5 minutes. Then these are other kind of books, how land use is important in disasters, how we assess the impact of disasters, these kind of things. Then a book on Uttarakhand kind of disaster. Now, at the final, I would say that I would urge that all the institutions, all the colleges and universities, so start thinking of developing a disaster management plan for the campus. This is just a joke. This is a cartoon showing that how even animals are now thinking that they should prepare a plan. So, but plan should not be like this. Plan should be very simple. Plan should be handy. Plan should not be like this. So with this, I would say that when we discuss about resilience, the resilience should be kind of a you cannot be highly skewed. Basically, it requires a middle path between environment, technology, and development. Middle path between the corporate and society. Middle path between the materialistic world and the spiritual world. And therefore, I always refer to the teachings of Lord Buddha. He taught that we cannot be leaving the society. We cannot go away from the society, but we have to live in the society. But we need to design our development in a way that we can have an effective disaster resilience in our life, in our society, in our development. So with this, this is my research gate, and you are free and you are welcome to look at my publications and download my publications. So with this, I hope I could touch upon some of the issues which will give some insight, and these are my messages from my side. So my best wishes and congratulations for organizing such a wonderful program at this occasion. So thank you very much, and over to you at
Thank you.
this.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing uh, time for us in your very busy schedule, from your very busy schedule. Sir, definitely we will do what you have told to us. Although we have some disaster management plan in our campus, and the concerned faculty will definitely contact with you to improve it, sir.
Thank you.
And secondly, sir, many faculties who are doing work in disaster management now try to contact with you, sir.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you very much, sir, for sparing time with us, sir. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Their participation
Dear participants, now we will start our next session around 12:15 p.m.
Okay, sir.